I'm the Lonely Necron, and welcome to my basement. So, I've often wondered just how strong the Necrons really are, and I've spent a decent amount of videos trying to figure it out. But one thing I've always wanted to do, but just haven't really had the gumption, I guess, to do until now, was to take pretty much all of my troops, all of my warriors, and all of my immortals, and put them up against an entire other army just to see how well they do. So that's what we're going to do today. This is the instruction booklet for the new Catan Shard of the Nightbringer. The new model is just so much more amazing than the other one was. For one thing, it's not resin. But on the minus side, this thing has like 5 million pieces. I bought it about a week ago, and it's still sitting in its box taunting me. Taunting. So I started this channel with just Night Lords and Necrons, so it seemed kind of correct, I guess, in my head, to do this experiment against the Night Lords. So this is the entirety of my Night Lords, not counting the Rhinos for transport or the Night Desecrator that I normally have accompanying these guys. I have a Dark Apostle too, I just can't find him. So yeah, this is all of them. You got a Chaos Lord, a Master of Possessions who knows Gaze of Invigoration, a Sorcerer who knows Prescience and Gift of Chaos, 2 Greater Possessed, and since those guys don't exist in 9th edition, I'll be using my 8th edition codex for those 2 guys, 10 Cultists, 3 10-man groups of Chaos Space Marines. One has an autocannon, one has a flamer and a plasma gun, one has 2 heavy bolters, and then there's a 7-man group of Space Marines, and they got a missile launcher. Got a group of Havocs with a heavy bolter, a Predator autocannon, and 2 las cannons. We've got a group of Terminators. I don't remember everything they have, but there's a lot of it. 2 5-man groups of Warp Talons. Those guys are going to mess stuff up, because they do. Got a Hellbrute with a Hellbrute Fist and a twin-linked las cannon, I think. Maybe it's just a... No, I think it is a twin-linked las cannon. 2 Obliterators, a Master of Executions, and a Venom Crawler. I expect these guys will probably get mauled pretty horribly. So yeah, Night Lords. So this is pretty much the entirety of my troops for Necrons. We have 3 10-man groups of the old Necron warriors, 4 10-man groups of the new Necron warriors, and 4 10-man groups of the Necron immortals. The immortals always have Tesla because I'm just a big fan of Tesla. We got 4 Technomancers at the back. I know 3 of them look like Cryptex, but they're really Technomancers. 2 Lords and an Overlord. The HQs are pretty much all for support. The Technomancers are just to help reanimate warriors since they reanimate D3 warriors. The Lords are just there because Lord's Will is awesome. My Will Be Done just makes Tesla ridiculously crazy. So, yep. All my troops. I'm hoping that these guys do well because the AP on the Gauze, at least for the warriors, is pretty decent. And the amount of damage that a full squad of Tesla guys can put out is pretty expansive. So I'm going to vote on these guys to win because I'm a Necron player and that's what I do. Alright, so we're going to take a look at terrain next. Alright, so this happy little space will be the backdrop for today's game. The Night Lords will all be posted up in here. The Necron Legions will be spread out over there at that end. And we're going to see who can destroy who. Alright, so here we have the Necrons lined up in their attack formation. We got the new warriors in the front, the old warriors in the middle, and the immortals in the back. Technomancers in a little rectangle around them with an Overlord in the middle. these guys are ready to go. So here we have the Night Lords in their ruined building area. They won't be here long. You got the cultists and the Master of Executions out in front. Space Marines mostly all behind them. A Hellbrute and Chaos Lord in the back. You got the Sorcerers and the Master of Possessions on the sides to give them happy boosts. Bikers on the far side. Venom Crawler kind of on the outside there. The Warp Talons and the Terminators and the Obliterators will pop out of their teleportarium areas when necessary, when they feel they need to. See how the battle goes. The Necrons did win the starting first roll, so we're going to start off with them first. The first 2 turns are probably just going to be movement, depending upon how good the Night Lord advances, so maybe only 1 round. Alright, so nothing really fancy here. These guys all just moved forward 5 inches. The Necron Lord on the left gave Lord's Will to the unit of warriors on his left, and the one on the right gave his Lord's Will to the unit of warriors on his right. So the shooting phase. So after some careful measuring, I discovered that all 3 of the old Necron warriors are actually within range of the Chaos Cultists. So they're all going to shoot at the Cultists. We'll see how many of these guys survive. They're too far away for the rapid fire bonus, but 10 shots is 10 shots. I'll take it every day. Alright, so it did take all 3 of the Necron warrior units, but they did completely destroy all 10 cultists. So, first blood to the Necrons. Too far well. None of these guys can really attack except for the Technomancer. The HQ units can melee attack, but everybody else has a gun, so not going to see a whole lot of charging here. That'll put it over to the Night Lord turn. They're probably all going to just advance and try and get closer. So, movement. Alright, so everybody in this army just advanced forward. Everybody. The bikers didn't move because there's just nowhere to put them right now. And none of the units in the teleportarium feel they need to come in yet because the battle hasn't even been joined, but everybody else advanced forward. Bit of a bottleneck up at the main breach. That first Space Marine group rolled a 1 on the advance, so yeah, they're holding everybody else up right now. But that's the end of their turn. Nobody can charge because they all advanced. Nobody's close enough to charge anyway. And everybody that could shoot also advanced, so it'll go back to the Necrons for their movement phase. There's going to be a lot of death this turn, I believe. Alright, so once again, the Necrons have all just moved forward 5 inches. But now they're pretty much all within shooting distance, so this is going to be a crazy shooting experience. I expect the Master of Executions and the Greater Possessed and probably 1 or 2 Space Marine units to perish. We'll see how it goes. That's just the nature of the game, so alright, Necron shooting phase. Alright, so the front far 2 Necron warriors managed to kill off one of the Greater Possessed. And then the other 2 front Necron warriors did a fair amount of damage to the Space Marine grouping that was there in the front breach. And then all of the middle warriors killed off the wounded Greater Possessed. And then the Immortals just stepped up and killed everything else. One group killed off the unwounded Greater Possessed. One group killed off the Master of Executions. One group killed off the last remaining Space Marine out of the group from the breach. and the other group was just too far away to shoot anything. So yeah, they did some decent work there. Cleared out the majority of the front grouping of guys. So, but that does make it the Night Lord's turn. So we're probably going to see some charging here in the future. But first, we got to go through movement. All right, so all of these guys just moved forward as far as they could, as close as they could. The bikers are still hanging back, just because I fully envision them like roaring out of this place and running over a number of Necrons in their haste to get to the Necrons. So I think it'll be funny. So I did some quick measuring and discovered that there was 2 inches of freedom back here on the back end. So both groups of Warp Talons and both Obliterators have decided to warp into the table edge here. That's going to definitely add some awesomeness into this. Alright, well that'll take us to the second phase. Alright, so the Sorcerer tried to cast Presence on the group of Space Marines led by the Chain Axe guy, but he miserably failed that. He didn't Perils, but he still kind of miserably failed it. But he did do Gift of Chaos on the second from the top left. A group of Necron warriors there managed to actually kill 3 of those guys. Nobody else is within an inch, so it didn't spread, but not all gifts can be awesome. Alright, well, that's going to take us to the shooting phase. There's definitely guys within range for shooting, so let's get on with that. Alright, so the Night Lords actually did a pretty decent amount of damage here. This Obliterator killed 1 of these Immortals. This Obliterator killed 2 of these Immortals. The Havocs in the back there killed 2 of these guys. The squad in front of these guys killed a couple of them, and the squad in front of these guys killed 3 of them. It was super awesome. I was mighty proud, and Chaos actually turning up and fighting for once. Alright, we're going to do some charges here in a second. I got to move these dice and figure out who actually is charging, so... Alright, so the farthest grouping of Warp Talons is going to charge into the Immortals in front of them. The closest grouping of Warp Talons over here is going to charge into the Immortals in front of them. This Venom Crawler is going to try and charge into the Necron Warriors in front of it. The group of Space Marines with the Chain Axe are going to try and go into the weakened group of 5 in front of them. And the guy with the red top knot peeking his way through the breach is going to try and charge into the group with the green dice in front of them. This should be pretty awesome, and I'm really hoping that Overwatch helps the Necrons out, because otherwise they are definitely kind of trapped between 2 forces here. I still have lots of faith in them. They are Necrons after all, so... We'll see how it goes. Well, the Necrons just got mauled. Everybody made their charges. The Immortals managed to kill 1 Warp Talon each. And that's about where the fun ended. The group of Warp Talons on the far end there completely wiped out the 10 Immortals that they went into. Not even a problem there. The slower, unpainted group of Warp Talons only killed off half of the Immortals, but that's fine. The Chain Axe wielding leader of the group of Space Marines there, they wiped out their group of 5 warriors that they charged into. The middle group there, the red guy with the top knot, they killed 5 warriors also, but there's still a couple left alive. And the Venom Crawler killed a good number of warriors and actually took a point of damage in return. That was pretty crazy. So, awesome sauce. Well, that'll make it the Necron turn. Gonna do some Technomancer reanimation, and then we're gonna do some movement. Alright, so the closest Technomancer to us, the one by the Venom Crawler, reanimated 3 Necron warriors who are now in combat with Venom Crawler. And then the 2 Technomancers in the back reanimated 1 Immortal each. Really not a whole lot I could do there. Not a whole lot of need to move at this point either, since there's so many targets within range, and everybody else is still coming within range, so just stay where we are and just kill things, I guess. Probably should have brought a Catan, but I really did just want to see what troops can do. Alright, well, that'll take us to the shooting phase for these guys. Alright, so the Necrons actually kind of acquitted themselves a little bit better this time. So, the 2 groups of Immortals in the back, the group of 9 completely destroyed their Obliterator by like a lot. And the group of 10 damaged theirs a little bit. The Necron warriors in the middle, the one at the top there shot at the grouping with the chainsword, didn't kill any of them. The grouping in the middle also shot at the group with the chain axe and killed a couple of them. And this group on the far end also shot at that guy because, what's the word I'm looking for here? Most everybody's in melee combat, so. And then the last grouping of Necron warriors unattacked over there on the far side also went after the guys with the chain axe grouping. So they whittled them down pretty far. Did a decent amount of damage to the Night Lords on this end anyway, but not going to charge anybody because all the HQ were there for pretty much for support, so that'll make it the Night Lord turn. Movement. So the area inside the ruin here still got guys just moving forward, trying to get out of the place. The last group of Space Marines just finally made it out. The Master Possessions and the Sorcerer are just on the outside of it. Hellgriff's right up there at the breach. Havoc's right behind. Bikers finally moved over. All the guys that were in combat over here, they're just going to stay in combat. The Warp Talons on the far side are going to be getting ready to charge into somebody. The Terminators decided to go ahead and just drop in because why not? This way all the Night Lords are on the table. Alright, we're going to try some Psyker stuff, and then we'll be back. So in the weirdest dice roll of the game so far, the Master Possessions failed to, manifest his thing. And the Sorcerer managed to paralyze twice, and it wasn't even the good peril. I rolled Snake Eyes twice in a row. I don't think I've done that before. So yeah, the best, what do we call that? The winner of shooting yourself in the foot award? That Sorcerer. Good job, boy. Okay, well, I guess we're going to have to go to shooting then. Okay, well, it's not exactly what I was expecting to happen, but that's what happened. So between the Terminators and the last Obliterator, they completely wiped out one of the groups of Immortals in the back there. The group of 10 Space Marines, with the wounded guy right there, with their pistols, managed to kill off the 2 remaining Necron warriors that they were dealing with. The group of guys just now coming out the breach on the far side, another guy with a red top knot. He's got 2 guys with heavy bolters in there, and they killed off some Space Marines, or some warriors. Also, things are actually kind of looking a little bleak right at the moment. That'll make it the charge phase. So there's already people that have been charged. The Warp Talons that are just hanging out over there are going to multi-charge into the Technomancer and the Old School Warriors in front of them. Then the full group right here on the left side are going to also multi-charge into the Technomancer in front of them. And I guess the Warriors behind them. These guys will charge in over here. I think that might be it. these guys are going to try and charge into these guys. We'll see how well that turns out. Okay, so the Warp Talons and the small groups of Chaos Astartes were the only ones that actually made their charge. Both the other groups of Space Marines that tried to charge failed, but both lost a dude. It happens. The Warp Talons that successfully charged managed to kill off 3 of the warriors, but between the Technomancer and the warriors, they did kill 1 of the Warp Talons. The guys with the chain axe killed off 2 warriors. And then for regular combat, the Venom Crawler killed off a couple more and lost some more health. The Warp Talons on the bottom side here wiped out the 5 Immortals that were in front of them. It's a bad day to be a Necron, I think. Where once there was order and rows and lines and things, now there's just kind of a jumbled mess. Oh well, we'll find a way to plow through this and destroy these heretic Astarte scum dude things. I mean, it is chaos, right? It's supposed to be chaotic looking. It's supposed to be all jumbled up together. Good times. Well, that'll make it the Necron turn. I'm not entirely sure what all they can do still here, but we're going to do something, I'm sure. So, command phase and movement. So once again, all the Cryptex just reanimated 2 Necron warriors wherever they were needed. D3, but I rolled a 4 and a 5, so if they're only missing 2, you can't put 3 down. I'm going to stubbornly refuse to move yet again because I don't know, stubborn. I still think that the Necrons can win this if they just stay where they are and just shoot. I mean, it's not working, but I think it's going to, so it sounds good. So we'll just go to shooting. Yeah, shooting. So this group of warriors killed about 3.5 technically, of these Warp Talons. This group of Immortals killed the Obliterator that used to be sitting over here. And this group of warriors whittled down that group over there, the Heavy Bolter group, by about 3 or 4 guys. Nobody else can really shoot because they're all in combat, or they're a support guy. Nobody's going to charge because we're trying to see if the gun part works here. So instead, we'll just deal with the fights that they're currently a part of. Alright, so the guys involved with the Venom Crawler did a couple points of damage to it, and then lost 3 of their members doing so. And their group against the guy with the chain axe didn't kill anybody, and lost 3 guys for the attempt. And the Cryptek warrior grouping over there that were fighting the Warp Talon, they did manage to kill the Warp Talon. It was awesome. Alright, well, that will unfortunately make it the Night Lord's turn. Let's see what they come up with for movement. Alright, so the Terminators are starting to move up towards the back end of the line here. The remaining Warp Talon is scooted over towards the group of Immortals. And the grouping with the Flamethrower and Plasma Gun have moved forward. Hellbrute and the 2 Psychers have also moved up. The grouping with the Heavy Bolter are just going to stay where they are. Havocs have moved up to the breach. Chaos Lord is moving up. The Bikers have finally moved up to the front area. And then all the guys that are in combat are still in combat. So, Psyker phase, and hopefully there will not be perils at this time. Alright, so Mutated Invigoration did not go off for like the 3rd time in a row. Prescience didn't go off for the Sorcerer, but the Gift of Chaos did, which killed off the warriors that were here, leaving those guys free to do fun things now, which will lead us into the happy shooting phase. So the Terminators here killed up the Cryptek Technomancer and a couple of the warriors that were here. The grouping over there with the 2 heavy bolters, along with the bikers, killed off the group of warriors that were over there. Yeah, there was just a whole lot of unnecessary extraneous death here. Halbert killed off the cryptek that used to be over here. These guys and these guys took out some of the warriors that were over there. The Havocs killed some warriors over here. There was just a whole lot of death here. A whole lot of death. Alright, so Night Lord charges. So the Warp Talon is going to multi-charge into this Technomancer and these Immortals. This grouping here is going to charge into the Lord. And I guess these guys are going to try and charge into that Lord. And then regular combat that's still around, which will be the Venom Crawler and the Warriors. Alright, well, the Warp Talon died in Overwatch, but the 2 groups of Space Marines made it in. Both of them completely killed the Lord. Venom Crawler killed another 3 warriors and only lost 1 health that time. So yeah, it's getting down to the wire now. Well, that will make it the Necron turn. So the actual Technomancer model up there at the top managed to reanimate 3 of the Necron warriors. And the Cryptek Technomancer down here at the bottom managed to reanimate 1 Necron Immortal. Still not going to move. So we'll do some shooting. So the furthest away top grouping of Necron warriors killed 1 Space Marine from the Chain Axe squad. And then the remaining Necron warriors and Immortals that are free went after this grouping of guys and killed 4 of them between the 2 groups. So that worked out pretty well-ish, kind of. We're at the point now, though, where support characters are actually going to have to charge. So the Overlord is going to charge into the Chain Axe squad. He's the only one, I guess, that's going to charge, so. Alright, so the Overlord made his charge, suffered no Overwatch, and completely eviscerated all 3 of the Night Lord Astartes with his Void Size. Melee superiority is still superiority. Unfortunately, the last 3 warriors that were in combat with the Venom Crawler down here finally succumbed. The Venom Crawler finally killed the last 3. It was sad. They've been holding him for quite a while, like 4 turns, I think. Oh well. Alright, well that'll make it the Night Lord turn. See if they can finish these guys off, or if they're going to have to suffer through another round. Movement. Alright, so everybody got a whole lot closer now. Like a whole lot closer. Everybody moved up. Everybody got close to like where they think they can be for charge range and all that. So once again, the Master Possession failed to manifest his Psyker power. Sorcerer also failed to get Smite off, but he got Gift to Chaos off, killing 2 of these Immortals and doing 1 damage to this Technomancer. I mean, it's not the greatest of Psyker powers, but it is killing them slowly. It is what it is. So that'll take us to the Night Lord shooting phase. Alright, so the Heavy Bolter guys, next to the Bikers over there, killed off the Technomancer that was in front of them. And then the Bikers, along with the Halberd, killed off the rest of the Necron warriors that were near that Technomancer. Everybody else over here on this side pretty much focused all of their attention onto the Immortals, killing off most of them. Deep sigh. That'll make it the charge phase. So the sorcerer is going to charge into the overlord. And this grouping of 4 there, the Space Marines in front of the Immortals, are going to multi-charge into the Technomancer and the Immortals. Alright, so everybody made their charge. Nobody died from Overwatch. The sorcerer did absolutely no damage to the Overlord and died. Just got completely murdered. The Space Marines did manage to kill off an Immortal, and the Technomancer killed off one of the Space Marines. Kind of a happy little trade there, so nice. That will make it the Necron's turn. Alright, so the Technomancer gained back a health from living metal, reanimated one of the Immortals, and then both groups fell back. The Overlord moved over towards the group that just attacked them. So since they fell back, they can't shoot. Overlord doesn't have a gun anyway. So it'll go to the charge phase. So the Overlord is going to charge into the group of 3 guys there. And we'll see how this goes. So the Overlord made his charge, suffered no damage in Overwatch, killed 2, but not the champion, and then managed to actually make a saving throw against the 2 wounds that the champion did make on him. Which will make it the Night Lord's turn. Probably the last turn. So the champion that was in combat with the Overlord fell back, and everybody else just kind of got into a circular arc thing around these 5 remaining Necrons. Alright, well, let's try and see if the Master Possession wants to do anything Psycho related today. Alright, well, the Master Possession was actually finally able to get a Psycho power off. It was Smite. And he smote 2 of the Immortals, killing them. Which will take us to the Night Lord shooting phase. Alright, so the Terminators killed off the Immortal. And the Venom Growler killed off the Technomancer. And it took the combined effort of both the Heavy Bolters, the entire Havoc Squad, and the Hellbrute to kill the Overlord. So yeah, this is the remnants of the entire Night Lord's army after getting attacked by the majority, pretty much all of the Necron troops. I'm not gonna lie, I expected a much better outcome. Like, one where the Necrons actually win. But considering how much of the Night Lord's army is now on the dead shelf, I consider it still kind of a win. I mean, they showed up, they kicked ass. Yeah, they lost, but it is what it is. I've been wanting to do this game for a very long time, so I'm glad I was at least able to finish it. So yeah, on an open plain, open field, Necron troops, probably not the best idea. Maybe the next time I do this, we'll do it in like a ruined city thing, and they can be like hiding in buildings and shooting from ambush. Probably work a lot better. If you made it to the end of the video, I do appreciate it. I do apologize for, I think it's been 6 months since the last video. It's just been, life is rough. I live in the US, and it's really hard to describe the situation here. Trying to find life and things and happiness in Warhammer. So, thanks again for watching. Stay safe, stay blessed. I appreciate you.